This episode is brought to you by the Rich Thinking Conference, being held in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on September 6th, 2024. It's a day of inspiration, mindset work, and power networking that will leave you feeling like $1 billion, and it'll have you ready to go out there and take action to do the things that you really want to do. Put yourself in the right room with the right people, and anything is possible. The Rich Thinking Conference teaches you how to unlock the wealth of wisdom. Check it out at richthinking.org for more information. Welcome back to Blessings, friends. I have with me today an impressive young person from my home area, northeastern Pennsylvania, Kylie Montigney. Kylie is an ambitious powerhouse in media and in life. She started her podcast, Talk of Fame, when she was just 14 years old. And today, at 17, she is firmly entrenched in the media world with her endeavors to inspire the younger generations to tap into their unlimited potential by interviewing strong voices in culture, business, politics, the arts, entertainment, and sports. She is an advocate for empowering girls and women in life and in media. In short, she wants people to thrive, and she's on a mission to support success in others and in herself. Welcome, Kylie.
Thanks so much for having me. That was such a great intro. I'm super honored to be on here.
I'm glad to have you because I'm really excited to have a young voice on the show. As a college professor for decades, I have always enjoyed being in touch with the culture of younger generations. And so I wanted to know, what is life like for people your age growing up in this rapidly changing, kind of crazy world?
Yeah, so I know it's really crazy. I know the last couple of years things had changed dramatically, especially since the pandemic. Everyone, all teenagers and young kids were stuck at home due to pandemic. They couldn't go to school in person, so it was very heartbreaking for us kids to not do that social interaction like we're used to sports, school, whatever social activities we usually do. So that really was such a hit for us in terms of talking in person. All we had was FaceTime or Snapchat, Instagram, whatever social media we had to this point. And really, a lot of us teenagers really are just trying to have that social impact of trying to make us happy, trying to, pursue our destinies, whether it's sports, entertainment wise, like acting, singing. I don't know. There can be so many things people want to do, but with a lot of people, I know, especially teenagers nowadays, love to focus on sports. So that's how I know from my family's perspective, sports is their whole life. I know it's a lot for a lot of other families as well. But to go back to your question, I know for a lot of teenagers, our most of our days usually just consist of usually schoolwork. I know school is a big priority until college. I know not a lot of people go to college, but it usually consists of hanging out with friends, school, and working. I work two jobs currently, so it's a lot of working every single day, and also just hanging out with our friends on our free time. Just the same usual things that like our parents' generations usually grew up on. But I know with the pandemic, it did change a lot of those things and the way we view them since we went throughout the pandemic as well.
Do you think it made people of your age group realize how important those kinds of normal activities are when you couldn't do them?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Like I'm probably speaking for a lot of people when I say it did impact a lot of people. It did impact my life. Like it really made me sit down and think, oh my gosh, I never knew how much I needed these things until now. It is really during that time since I had so much free time on my hands, I was like, sat down and just thought, oh, how is this different since this is happening? Like it just made things more grateful for what I have right now than what I did before the pandemic. And I'm sure it's for everyone else as well.
Was it a part of the reason why you decided to start your podcast?
Yeah, like I never was a talkative person. I was introvert my whole life. I was very shy. Never talked to anyone else. I was comfortable with them, but it wasn't until the pandemic where it really I stepped up out of my comfort zone to try something new. I was always a quitter and things. I always quit things all right at the bat. But it really, the pandemic really shaped me into doing these type of things and try things out and trying to keep myself busy during that process.
It's interesting how the pandemic affected people differently. Like a lot of people were more now introverted or more going into their shells. They were comfortable staying home. They were comfortable wearing a mask and being hiding behind the mask. But you're saying the opposite. You're saying it made you want to put yourself out there and get out of your comfort zone more. It actually pushed you to do that. That's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, it definitely did, but it definitely impacted me in so many ways. Like I honestly wanted to stay home 24/7. It's like of course with every state, every lockdowns were different. Some states were out of lockdown more than others. So it's like of course, like when we were at the pandemic, we had to get used to staying at home. And at that point, like a couple months in, I was like, I'm bored. I don't want to be at home anymore. This is just sick. I'd rather just do something with myself besides sitting around and doing nothing 24/7 and besides schoolwork and that sort of thing. So I was like, why not just take it on my own hands and try to do something until pandemic's over when whoever that may be. And it lasted longer than I expected it to be, honestly.
I know it sure did, right? But I love the way that you used it for a positive thing. And you got the inspiration to start a podcast, to start connecting, to keep the connection going because we were forced to not connect. So I
Mhm.
love that you used your podcast as a platform to help to inspire people. What kinds of people do you like to talk to on your podcast?
Oh, that's a great question. So I love to talk to everyone. There's no one specific I like to dread out or just keep out. I love to spy at anyone that reaches out to me, whatever that may be, maybe a business owner, whatever. I follow them on my local based podcast I have, or an actor, singer, founder, activist, advocate, whatever you may be. I'm always trying to take everyone because, of course, every story Andrew needs to be heard because I know every person, their story is different from others. And I feel that every story is different and can impact someone in a different way. And I try not to really stop that. I know I try not to keep them in the sidelines. I know some people feel that their voice isn't heard, they're not getting themselves out there, like they're struggling to, gain their platform in a way. So it makes me feel encouraged with each episode. You feel like, okay, this is what I'm doing is important. It feels me more encouraged to at least get a little bit of your story out there. It might not be a lot. It might be, I know, a couple of hour long episode. It might not be like that, but I always try to catch everyone, whoever they may be on the podcast, no strict limit.
Just to share different people's voices because every story matters. And that's so really such an interesting way of approaching life because it makes us feel accepting of others, less judgmental, and it helps us to really see ourselves as we connect to other people. So, let me ask you a couple questions about your own story. I know you're a Pennsylvania girl, as am I. I wonder a little bit about your upbringing. What kind of upbringing did you have that gave you the values that you carry with you today as a teenager?
Yeah, so of course, I'm from Northeast Pennsylvania, from a small town outside of Scranton, and I grew up in a sports family. My family is a diehard sports fans. Me and my twin brother Chase grew up at a baseball field. Me and him played baseball, and I ended up quitting back in 2015. And I found that playing baseball wasn't for me. I'd rather just sit on the sidelines and watch and help my dad coach. And because my dad was a coach in Little League before high school. So I ended up trying to budge in to help whenever I can and also go to games and stuff. So and I grew up basically everywhere I went, it was at a baseball field. So all my upbringing was at a baseball field. And so I spent basically all my childhood at a baseball field. And basically, of course, in terms of podcasting, I have 2 cousins that work for a local news station here in Pennsylvania, and I grew up watching them on TV whenever they were on. I know my aunt started out as a reporter, so I didn't see her as much as I wanted to, but whenever I did, I was always very encouraged. And now a couple of years as I grew up watching them on the news, whatever they were doing, I was always so intrigued by what they did. And basically, like whenever I'd be at family events, or parties or whatever, they would discuss what they were doing, what segments they did, or whatever. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like they're doing that. That's a thing. I was always surprised and excited that they're doing that. And it was like, I thought, oh, maybe I can do that. But I was so young to understand what it was. I just thought maybe, like, I was a shy kid. I was like, how's a shy kid supposed to be a journalist and reporter? That's not a thing. That's something you don't see. And so as I grew older and got into my little own space and confidence, I found what I wanted to do and found myself as a person. I'm like, maybe I do want to be a journalist. I'll try it out and see how it goes. If I don't like it, I can find something else. But of course, with growing into a sports family and having those two cousins, I found it to align together a little bit. So I'm like, okay, I can be a journalist and do something like that, maybe a podcast, and also interview athletes as well on a podcast. I don't interview as much as I hope to, but I try to do as often as possible. But when I grew up, it really was sports was my entire personality. It really was my family's personality. It really impacted the way I grew up and my personality in a way how my parents raised us and to become like be involved in sports in a way and being raised to support each other whatever we're doing. And so with that, I was like, and that really did impact the way I wanted to support other people in entertainment or what I do. Because of course, bringing that up to myself with that kind of family. It really did impact the way of okay, like I love supporting other people in their work. Like I'm always the type of person that when I see a post about maybe someone getting a job or they met their famous actor or favorite actor or whatever it is, I'm always the first one to comment, hey, that's amazing, like whatever that may be. Like
Yeah.
and then, like, once I started the podcast back in 2021, I almost forgot that, it's been so long. But when I did a podcast, my number one really mission was to really just encourage others to just do what they wanna do no matter what situation, and I'm super happy my parents were able to raise me to support whoever, if I may or may not know the person in real life, to really support others. And of course, some people might not have the support that I might have or other people have. So really, with the upbringing I had, I'm very grateful that my parents and my family were able to bring that onto me and my siblings a little bit more. And I feel like if I wasn't raised that way, I probably wouldn't be who I am today if
Mm.
I wasn't, like, raised like that.
And you have a twin?
Yeah.
That's cool. Do you have a good relationship with your parents, would you say?
Yeah, very good relationship, yeah.
How important is it for a teenager to have a solid relationship with their parents?
That is such a great question. I'm so glad you asked that, because I know with, like, a lot of teenagers, they always like to dread away, not and always hang out with their friends, just dismiss their parents away. But I found as I grew up, the importance of parents and like a daughter, mother, child relationship. I don't know how to put it. But I think we're having a parent and them supporting you, it really just helps you grow up and become the person you are today because they know you better than anyone else. And
Mhm.
I know many people don't have that opportunity to have a close bond with their parents, whatever the situation may be. It can be plenty of different reasons that a child's not close with their parents. But with myself, I wouldn't be where I am without my parents' support. Like they times when I'm always I'm a very independent person. I always like to do things on my own. I just love to do all the works and ideas myself, and I don't like to ask for help whenever I might need it. I hate ask for help. And when I do ask for help in a situation, they're always the first people to say yes and supporting me and being my biggest supporters whatever I may do, and also my biggest critics whenever I do something wrong or whatever I say. They're always on the spot saying, "Okay, Kylie, just don't do that." No. So like they're always like the people that always loves to critic you, but also support you at the same time, whenever that may be. And I think that's honestly the best way for a child's upbringing to really have that support system, to also have parents that really have, to support you, but also give you judgments so you won't do it again in the future. And I know with some people, they might not have the opportunity, but it's really important thing to have when you grow up, especially here in the world we live in. It can be hard, and but a lot of people have suffered with mental health ever since the pandemic started. So it really is important to have that support system to be there for you when you're going through some things and to support you when no one else is.
Yeah. I love that you have that close relationship with your parents, but I also can see that they are teaching you valuable life skills because you are working so hard. You have ambitions, you have your schoolwork, you have your podcast, and you also have two jobs. I think it's very important for teenagers to have jobs, to learn how to be productive, how to make their own money, how to organize their time. So, what would you say are the biggest benefits of having that kind of a good work ethic?
I would say basically just growing yourself as a person, like, is a big thing that I can think of on the top of my head at the moment. There's of course many other reasons, but I'll definitely say the work ethic that goes into so many things, I think is very important. I know with me, I'm always looking for new ideas to do different types of things, even though I might not have the time to. I'm always overworking myself, even though I don't want to, and I'm stressed the way I am because I have so much on to play, even though I love to add more and more. And so it's so bad. It's a bad obsession. 'Cause I'm a very creative person, so I always love to create different things. But with that ethic, I feel when you have a kind of like a work ethic and different things, it can really impact, okay, am I going to use this work ethic when I go adult? Or how can I use this work ethic to get extra money for something, whether it's like an event or buying a house, going to college, or even whatever or something like going out with friends. And I know a lot of people suffer financially in so many ways, whether it's like making their money for their kids or their family, or and sometimes the economy can affect how much people get paid as well, which is a big factor in some of the cases that happen in the United States over since its founding. And I know with people's work ethic, it can be shown in different ways and then everyone, some maybe similar, some maybe different. And so with that, I think the work ethic really is such a big part of myself, like working 24/7. I'm a workaholic. I always work 24/7, no matter what, no matter if I'm on vacation or whatever I am, I'm always working. And with that work ethic, I think really having that ethic, really, the more you kind of work on a certain project, the more you really grow as a person for yourself and your work as well.
So true. Yes, very well said. I am wondering then, since you are such a hard worker, what does success mean to you? What does it look like to be successful?
Oh, that is so good question. Yeah, such good questions. But success is honestly, I define it in many ways. I know every person defines success differently. And for me, I'm sometimes working so much to the point where it will not become a success and it doesn't work out the way I want because I want everything to be perfect. Like I'm the type of person that wants everything to be straightforward. And with that, like with success, like the way I usually define it is that like you're getting it more successfully and you're getting attention for it more than you should. And or you thought you would get it. And with success, it can like be whether you're getting a pay raise or you're getting a lot of viewers on this thing or you are getting a lot of attention for sports. I say from success for me, I was like it comes from working hard, and we just try very hard to work for success, even though I might not get it as soon as possible. Even though I try, but success really comes in a variety of different ways, and success is really just a major factor in different ways that I can't imagine, but success is really just working hard for it, and it might take forever. That was it for the last 4 years and never has gone, but it really just pushes you to work harder to really push for that success.
Yeah. Success is very subjective. It means something different to everyone. And whether that's having your dream job or lots of money or rich relationships is doesn't matter as long as it's fulfilling for you as an individual. So I love that perspective. When you are my age, 57, what do you think your life will look like?
Oof, I don't know. Yeah, I'm from a perspective right now, I'm really hoping that I get to be a journalist or an anchor or reporter at a news station, or even for a big news company, maybe like CNN, Fox News, Entertainment Weekly, or any big news station out there. It's definitely a goal of mine to be a part of one of the big news stations out there. So hopefully by that time, I get to be part of a big news station, be a reporter or something, whatever that may take me. It could be totally different, but that's what I'm thinking of right now. Hopefully that'll happen.
I hope that comes to be a reality for you. That would be great. I love that. As a teenager, what is a skill that you think should be taught in school, but it's not taught in school?
That's a hard question. A skill, I would definitely say, this is cliche. I don't know why I'm thinking about this answer, but I would say treat others the
Mm.
way you want to be treated. I feel like some schools teach that, but not everyone. But I would definitely say treat others the way you want to be treated is such a big one for me because I know with a lot of people, they like to bully others and treat others the way that you don't want to be treated. And even though you might be a very nice person and treat others with complete nice, being kind to other people, and they don't treat the same way. And I feel maybe not a lot of schools teach that. I could be personally wrong, but I would definitely say treat people with kindness is such a big a skill that I feel like a lot of schools don't talk often about.
You are reading my mind because my next set of questions is about that idea that it seems to me and to a lot of people who are looking from the outside in that there are a lot of problems with bullying and social issues in high schools in particular and middle schools when kids start to get into adolescence and then they get older and there seem to be a lot of struggles with that. Do you think that there are problems with quote mean girls or bullying in your school?
Oh, 100%, yeah. I feel like there's, of course, mean girls in every school, and I'm sure, like, every school has that a set of quote unquote mean girls. I personally have dealt with it. Everyone probably deals with it, but I know from my school, I don't want to like hit on them or anything, but I know with the school I went to or go to, I have personally dealt with those people, and those mean people would never go away, even though I would like them to. I never had those people in my life. I try to push them away as possible. But really, it does oftentimes occur in my life with those girls in my school that may not do it to me personally, but I know they probably do it to other girls as well for where I go.
What do you think drives people to be mean or unkind to other people?
I'll definitely say maybe their home life. I know from some people their home life might not be the best. They might be going a rough time at home. I feel of course with stuff going on at home it can really affect someone's attitude and the way to approach other people or see kind of their parents or their relatives or close friends do the same thing and be treat people with being rude and just being ungrateful for some things. I feel like that is such a huge kind of part. And that also really just being surrounded with those friends that are just rude in a way. And I know with some people, they can have toxic friends and they really like to do certain things to just fit in with that certain friend group or friend. And that's what I see often is that like Mostly if they want to be popular or in just certain friend group, they like to act like a certain way or say something just so they can like that person, which I think is totally stupid. I think it's the stupidest thing ever because no one should treat other people just so you can be liked. That is something that I had to learn growing up is that I shouldn't change my personality in a way I am just so I can be fit in with these people. And even if they don't like me, that's fine. Not everyone's gonna like everyone. And that is like the biggest lessons I learned personally was that like people really just get treat other people with not nice so nice things. By the way, their family or their even friends treat others because they want to be like them.
Yeah, it's a tough thing when you are stuck in a school and you can't leave the school. So I can understand why people try to fit in, even though they know that it's not healthy for them to be associating with these, as you call them, toxic friends. It's so true. But I think that's one of the things we learn when we get out of a school environment, because then we have the freedom to choose the people we surround ourselves with and to be surrounding ourselves with people who lift us up rather than bring us down. But I think that's one of the hardest things about being in high school and middle school is that place where you're stuck. It takes a very strong person to say, not everybody's going to like me, and I'm going to go and find the people who are my people who are supporting me and empowering me. So I love that you have the strength to do that. And I love that you have become a pillar for other people who may be looking for that person to empower them. You're that for other people now. And that's so beautiful.
Thank you so much. I'm never like that type of person that loves to empower myself more than empower other people. I recently had an incident, for example, that I didn't feel empowered by a certain situation, for example. And I just didn't feel that my work was really just empowering other people. But I feel like this is such an important thing because, of course, when other people love to empower other people, and they just don't like to empower themselves, and that's sometimes how I feel. And I know a lot tons of people they have some sort of stigma between, okay, like person loves to empower others. I'm assuming she empowers herself as well. And some people, and I'm gonna be pretty honest, I do empower myself all the time. I'm not saying I don't, but sometimes I do not get empowered myself. Sometimes I'm in situations where I'm like, I am this horrible. I'm horrible at this. And everyone has those moments where they're like, okay, this is my strong suit. I can find something else, or just so many reasons. But even when empowering each other, empowering every woman up and supporting other women can come in a very strong way. But I know with situations that you just don't feel empowered by yourself can really just impact the way you empower others as well.
Yeah, that's what they say is the healer needs healing. The person who is doing something for the world, that is oftentimes something they're trying to address in themselves. I know that's true for me as well. And everybody feels down on themselves from time to time. But in working with others to inspire them and to lift them up, you have the tools because you are the person with the toolbox. You're giving others the tools all the time. So you can probably have an awareness and say, hey, all right, I'm getting stuck in a funk here. Now, let me use some of my own tools to pull myself out. Do you find that it's easier for you to do that now that you have the awareness of it?
Yeah, 100%. As I grew older and started to build my platform and started to talk to other people about empowering themselves, I really found it more easier to really empower myself by the way I tell other people. And when I feel in those moments where I just can't find or even think about those tools, I oftentimes really just write down what I'm feeling or even go on my computer and write down empowering quotes, and I would write them down and write them to encouragement cards, which I sent out to some of my friend that has our organization, which sends out encouragement cards to mental health facilities. in Florida, which is amazing. But when I am in those moments where I can't power myself, there's always certain tools that I always recommend to everyone. There's so many tools that I definitely love to use that I personally use on some people that usually help me when I'm in one of those little funks that happens every here and there.
Yes, and I love that idea that you just gave us, the idea of writing out your own encouragement cards. You could do this on sticky notes, you could do it on little pieces of paper, you could even make cards out of index cards or nice paper that you get, some kind of cardboard that you cut into nice little cards. It's such a great idea to make encouragement cards for yourself and to give out to others. What a great idea. Beautiful.
Mhm. Yeah, it's such an amazing idea. I never knew that was a thing until I interviewed my friend Francesca, and she runs a nonprofit, and she does makes encouragement cards and sends them out to mental health facilities for people that are suffering with mental health and depression. And once I saw that, I'm like, this is a great way to really, if you're struggling with anxiety or depression or just in one of those funks where you just don't feel important or valid, it really, one of those things can really just, when you're writing down those quotes, it really can impact you to encourage yourself when you're writing those down. And that's something I use very often when I'm in one of those funks when I'm dealing with that.
Yes. And it's easier to get yourself out of it when you already know that you have tools to fall back on. So, getting the tools ready beforehand, before you get into the down spiral, that's the trick, right? Having the tools
Mhm.
available already, being
Definitely.
proactive about it. Yes. And I know that you have been pretty open about having struggled with some anxiety and even depression at times. Can you just help people to understand some of the ways that you deal with that as a teenager, how you get yourself feeling better when you're in a down period?
Yeah, I know with every teenager, it can be different in terms, not every tool is probably going to work for everyone. But usually when I'm in one of those funks, I usually, like I said earlier, write encouragement cards, or even when I'm in, wherever I'm working or whenever I'm just doing something with involving my work or school, I usually put on headphones and listen to music or different podcasts I like, just so I can just get my mind shifted something else and just focus on the music I like, whatever I listen to my favorite artist or my favorite podcast, my mind just shifts into happiness and this flows away. So I love to go on walks or run. I love working out. I love to go to the gym. So whenever I'm in one of those funds, I go to the gym or go for a walk or go for a run. I usually run or walk for an hour a day or every other day, whatever, how my schedule looks, because every day is different. But usually, those are the main tools that I usually use that usually help me in one of those funks. But I know a lot of people love to use those things, but it definitely is a cliche answer. But I feel like those tools are definitely helpful for many people as well.
Absolutely. And they're cliche for a reason because they work. So I love
Yeah.
that. Those are great tips. Thank you. So, what would you say are the biggest lessons that you've learned in life?
Ooh, the biggest lessons I learned in life. I do love this question. And I feel like the biggest lessons I definitely learned in life was definitely just never taking it for granted in what you do. So I know with having, whether it's a good job or just doing what you do can take a lot out of you. And sometimes you can sometimes take it for granted as well in what you do. And sometimes I do sometimes take it for granted and forget that I am a person. I does even though I do so many things at 17 years old, it definitely can sometimes feel like you're taking it for granted. And so sometimes I just have to sit back and remember that, okay, this shouldn't be taken for granted. Not a lot of people have the courage in what you do or what you do. And so a lot of people have that chance to start something, whether it's like an organization, a business, podcast, or whatever it is. They sometimes never have the courage to start something at such a young age. So I would definitely just say just going at it at such a young age and just never taking anything for granted for sure.
Beautiful. And what would you say are your biggest blessings or your biggest blessing, the thing that you're the most grateful for in life?
I'll definitely say the biggest blessings I have is definitely my family. My family is my number one support, and I know I wouldn't be here, what I'd be doing without my family's support. And I know that they're very supportive of what I do. And I know if I'm in one of those down times where I'm just like, this is not going to work out, even though I wanted it to, and it's one of those funks, they always support me whenever I feel like it's not and nothing's working out for the same, whether it is podcasting, organization, or a job. It was, of course, everyone feels, those self-conscious feelings when you're doing so many things at once. I just feel so stressed and I feel things so much. And I know with when I'm in one of those funks, my family always talks me out of it and always gives me ideas on how I can get less stress and also have time for myself and also do other things like hang out with friends, go to sporting events or whatever I want to do. So it's definitely my number one blessing is my family for sure.
Aw, I love that. Kylie, it's been so wonderful talking to you and getting your perspective. Thank you for being here with me today. And I am so excited to share you with the world.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me. It was so fun. I'm super honored to be on here.